Hard work will only get you a little ahead, but the right hard work will get you exponentially ahead. I grew up in a coal mining town full of hard workers, some of the hardest workers in the world. And it got them a little extra overtime. You're wasting time and money working hard in the wrong direction until you know these 10 things about yourself. Let's begin with Dr. Jason West. This guy, when I met him, he's working 7 days a week. I was just a patient of his. You know what? He just worked, and then his wife would say, hey, let's go on vacation. He's like, look, I can send you, I just can't go with you. And so it's funny because someone said when I went up there, like, be careful, I heard Garrett Gunderson's coming. He's really expensive. And I was just going up to be a patient. And then Jason says, hey, can I take you to dinner? And I was like, sure. And he goes, what do you do? I'm like, I show people how to create a life they love and keep a lot more of what they make and live their legacy, not just leave one behind. He goes, you're hired, how much are you? So I thought it was kind of funny. He was very quick to do it. But now he's working 4 days a week with 3 days that are reserved. Now, sometimes he might, on those 3 days, create or write, because now he's doing a lot of video and he's authoring books and he's opened up a second office. But he did 4 days instead of 7 days and went from a couple million in revenue to 3 times that. 3 times that, because he learned what you're about to discover. Okay, you came here to find out these miracle 10 questions. But first, we've got to go through 2 tips to help you more successfully navigate these questions. The first one is, when I give you the question, you're going to want to brainstorm and write down everything you could think about with yourself and that question. Now, you can go to wealthfactory.com/solution, and the third part of that workbook you get will be going right through that. The second thing is, after you've gone through the brainstorming, I want you to go back and circle and choose the things that best describe you, right, when you're at your very best. So it might be that some of these words come up multiple times. It's okay to write the same word multiple times through these questions. Okay, you ready? Make sure that you're ready, that you've got something to write with, and let's go through this. I'm going to ask you the question, you're going to brainstorm, and then you're going to go back and circle. So I'm going to go through this fairly quickly. You might pause and start working on this and before you go to the next question. But let's begin with, I'm happiest when. That first question, I'm happiest when, you want to brainstorm that, because see, society has their definition of happiness and success. It's the house, it's the car, it's the job, it's all of these material things, it's the fame, it's all those kind of things, which might not be what makes you happiest. So what is it that you're happiest in? When you look at your life and you're in your happiest moments, what are those things you're doing? Okay, number 2, when are you most creative? There was a study done where people that said they were creative happen to be the most creative. Sometimes it's just embracing where we are actually creative. So where are you the most creative? I'm most creative when I'm brainstorming, when I'm in conversation, when I'm looking and dissecting finance, when I'm thinking about wealth and prosperity, when I'm going through business, when I'm writing my jokes, because I like to write jokes. So when are you most creative? Is it when you're in a workshop? Is it the certain people that you spend time with? Is it time that you take to yourself? I like to do those kind of things on planes. I like to do those with people that think certain ways. And I like to do those on Tuesdays when I'm down in my headquarters just working away with no one bothering me, okay? So when are you the most creative? Number 3, what does an ideal life look like for you? What does an ideal life look like? I know it's an ideal life for me if I've got something on the books that I'm looking forward to, a trip with my wife or a trip with my family. I know it's ideal if I've got 5 projects that I'm so immersed and engaged in and I'm excited about, with enough time to get those done so I don't constrain myself. An ideal life looks like I'm up at my cabin spending time with my family, learning new skills like fly fishing or how to tie flies or archery or even ping pong. I suck at ping pong. I'm going to get better at it because I'm good at foosball. If you're ever around, I'm going to take you at foosball, or else we might lose our friendship. Okay, but this is an ideal life, is when I've got these kind of things going on. I've got time that I don't feel overwhelmed. I've got time in the morning to do my workouts, to do my meditations. Like, I know what an ideal life looks like, so I can be more intentional in creating it. Brainstorm that. Number 4, what activities make you the most excited to get up in the morning? There's just certain times where I'm just like, we're building out a podcasting studio right now. I'm excited to get up and go see that podcast studio and see the progress that's made on that. That's exciting to me. I'm excited when I'm going to be taking a trip. I'm excited when I'm working on my Win Then Playbook. I'm excited when I know I've got time to film these types of things and share it. So what are the things you get most excited about? And candidly, I'm excited when I got a date night planned or a cool concert that I'm going to. So I want to engage in more of those activities. Number 5, The things that you're most passionate about in life are what? I'm passionate about speaking. I'm passionate about sharing the truth about money, finance, and prosperity, how to eliminate being overly reliant on the stock market or raising capital to start a business, and instead help people to uncover and discover value creation. I'm completely passionate and geeked out and nerdy about that. Number 6, I know when I'm holding a book in my hands that's about to go on the shelves and into people's lives, I'm living my purpose. I know when I'm in a conversation with someone that says, I think completely differently after hearing you teach this. Or, hey, we met 5 years ago, and now let me tell you about my family and where we're at and what I'm capable of that I never thought was possible before. I know I'm living my purpose when I'm engaged with the right people doing the things I'm very best at. Number 7, what hobbies or interests do you have that could potentially cross over as income? Me doing stand-up comedy, I've integrated that into speaking a lot of times. So I'm telling jokes from stage. Every now and again, I even tell a joke on these videos. It's a little hard to get the feedback on it, but right? That's something that's been kind of potentially crossing over. I've probably every 3 speaking gigs I do stand-up comedy at that speaking gig. I've done it in Croatia, I've done it in Breckenridge, I've done it in Park City. That's a lot of fun. So even though it's not directly related, it does support everything that I'm doing. What other hobbies? I've played guitar at my events before because people knew that I did that. So it adds a little bit of ambiance or creation. Now, I'm not looking to have people ask me to do that, but these are just things that can happen. All right, number 8, what talents and attributes do you regularly get complimented on? What do people consistently talk to you about? Like, hey, you're great at this. I love how you do this. Or I know I can rely on you for X, Y, and Z. I get people all the time say, man, you're good at making tax simple, right? That comes up all the time. Or like people think of me when they're thinking about how do people keep more of what they make? Or hey, we got this idea. How do we make it profitable? Number 9, what talents or activities do you enjoy that you're currently being paid for? Like, how can you do more of that and less of the things that are derailing, distracting, or full of drama? How can you more deliberately set up a life that you love, a calendar that expresses the best of who you are, the things that you feel fully engaged in and you don't run out of energy because you're just doing it in the name of getting it done or just scrimping or saving money? Number 10, what areas or activities did you excel at in the past, maybe in your childhood years or teenage years or even college years? Because even having some insight there, we might forget some of the things that we're very best at. Like I'm just picking up the guitar again because I used to be in bands. I used to, play that as a kid because my grandfather played the accordion and hooked me up with his guitar player. And so I did a lot during that time. I used to tell jokes all the time to my family members. And I've just had plenty of people, call and ask me stuff about finance from the time I was 18 years old. So you can find some of your best talents. And I was always having people over and having these gatherings. And so now we still do that within my company Wealth Factory of having these types of things. So these are the questions you brainstorm, go back in circle, and then there's a will. You're gonna fill out the spokes of that will. That spoke means that ability is a good expression of your soul purpose. It's congruent and aligned with who you are. It means the more depth that has, the more it calls to you, the more powerful you become, the more energy you create, and the more wealth that you're going to have because of the things that you choose to do. Now, put the top 3 things you do into your calendar immediately today. What are those 3 things that show up? And just find some time and space in your calendar. What can you eliminate and give up? What can you do more of instead? Because this is how you progress. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you got to give up something less productive through delegation or elimination, so now you can invest and express yourself with your soul purpose with the top 3 things on the spokes of your will. Sometimes the hardest things to see is what you do best. We get busy doing everyone else's agenda, but you can create yours. You can take time for yourself now, and you can profit with prosperity and production forevermore. Be sure to check out our other videos that are on soul purpose so that you can really figure out how you can be on point and even more profitable through the rules of prosperity.